According to the National Institute of Health, in an article from December of 2024, over 5 million people have died as a result of the conflict within the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Over 26 million people, according to the United Nations, in an article from August of 2025, are currently facing catastrophic starvation within the nation of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It is absolutely undoubtable and undeniable that what is happening right now in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is one of the greatest humanitarian crises the world has ever seen, and most likely the greatest humanitarian crisis that is currently ongoing. This makes it incredibly clear that most nations across the world want to find an end for the conflict that is currently going on within the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And that is why I come to answer today's question of, is there cause to believe in peace for the Democratic Republic of the Congo? The answer to this is an unfortunate but tragic no, for three main reasons. The first of which is due to the strength of terrorist organizations across the nation. The second is due to the lack of international involvement within the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And lastly is due to the lack of economic capital that the Democratic Republic of the Congo needs. Firstly, peace will not be possible for the Democratic Republic of the Congo due to the enormous strength of terrorist groups within the nation. According to the United States Department of State, in an article from May of 2025, ISIS is one of the largest terrorist groups in the world. Even after they were largely removed from the Middle East, they found a new home within Africa. And the country which they have found the most of a home in is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as a majority of ISIS's force now resides within this African nation. It is then absolutely undeniable that the ISIS's strength within the Democratic Republic of the Congo is a major problem for its governance, especially as, according to that same article from the United States Department of State earlier, it is only growing increasingly strong over the years. In addition to that, according to an article from the Associated Press from October of 2025, there is also the infamous March 23rd terrorist group within the nation, which is a major political opposition terrorist group which has continually used violence to get its way within the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. These two terrorist groups are incredibly large and an enormous problem for the governance of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. According to the British Broadcasting Corporation, in an article from May of 2023, in that year alone, there were over 653 terrorist attacks across the nation, which left thousands dead and tens of thousands more injured. When the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo cannot even protect its own people from being slaughtered in the streets by terrorist organizations, it's incredibly clear that they are not going to have the authority that is necessary to enforce laws and keep peace within the nation. When they don't even have the authority to keep laws, there is absolutely no way they will be able to properly enforce peace. To further demonstrate this, according to an article from the Wall Street Journal from October of 2025, despite the fact that the government has tried numerous times, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is still completely and absolutely unable to put a stop to the terrorist groups. Their numerous anti-terrorism initiatives have all collapsed in the past, making this an absolute impossibility for peace to come to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Secondly, another reason for why peace will not be possible for the Democratic Republic of the Congo is due to the lack of international involvement. According to an article from the International Monetary Fund, for October of 2025, international involvement within the Democratic Republic of the Congo, specifically aid which is being supplied to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, has been massively decreasing. According to an article from Reuters from May of 2024, in the past several years, especially after conflict was renewed within the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the United Nations has been gradually pulling out peacekeepers as well as subtracting aid from the nation. This means that after all the cuts that the United Nations has made to the aid that the country is getting, the country is only getting around $400 million annually. This may sound like a lot, but for a population of 100 million, that means if this money somehow perfectly gets from the United Nations to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, each person will only be getting $40 every single year. That is not enough to do anything. That is not enough to fund counterterrorism initiatives. That is not enough to protect the nation from being invaded by the other nations around it through funding the terrorist groups that already exist within the nation. That is not enough to do anything Compound that with the fact that according to an article from the Associated Press from June of 2025, the United States, from the U.S. Aid Initiative, has stopped the $10 billion annually in funding that it was giving the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It becomes incredibly clear the nation does not have the international aid that it needs to be able to fund any sort of counterterrorism initiatives to bring about peace to the country. If they weren't able to do it in the past, with the several hundreds of millions from the UN Peacekeepers Force, as well as the $10 billion from the United States, and numerous hundreds of million dollars from other nations around the world, when this money gets cut, when international involvement drops, it is unfortunately incredibly clear that peace will not be possible. Thirdly, for my third and final reason for why peace will not come to the Democratic Republic of the Congo is due to the lack of economic capital. According to a separate article from the International Monetary Fund, from December of 2024, the nation of the Democratic Republic of the Congo only has a GDP of around $70 billion every single year. They have a $70 billion GDP with a population of around 100 million. Compare that to the United States, which according to an article from the Wall Street Journal in August of 2025, has a population of around 300 million, triple the size, yet a GDP of around $30 trillion every single year. The United States is an incredibly wealthy nation, and what this points out is the fact that the Democratic Republic of the Congo simply does not have the money to properly be able to fund peace initiatives within the country. In fact, to further exacerbate this, according to a separate article from Reuters from September of 2024, each individual within the nation is running on about $2.48 every single day. That is the average salary across the nation. According to an article from the New York Times from October of 2025, over 3 out of 4 people are currently living in poverty within the nation. This is an extreme economic issue for the nation within the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And when they don't even have the money to feed their people, when 26.8 million people are currently facing catastrophic starvation and extreme levels of malnutrition, they simply do not have the money to fund peace initiatives. If they can't even feed their people, they cannot feed the programs that are necessary to bring about peace for the Democratic Republic of the Congo. To conclude, for the 3 main reasons outlined above, due to the strength of terrorist groups, the lack of international involvement, and the lack of economic capital, it is, unfortunately but tragically, I must conclude, peace will not come to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Thank you.